Jennifer. Happy Monday morning. I have a very special guest with us this week. This is Clint Nabors of the LS Neighbors team. Hi, Clint. And I've known you for a while, so I kind of know your background and everything. And you're one of my favorite people to listen to learn from. We're going to talk about today, asking, like, there are times where I'll think in my head, like, be like Clint, do what Clint would do. So, and you're just so great about sharing. And I know you're awesome at listing presentations, and there's so many things we could talk about today. But for people who maybe don't know you with the company, why don't you kind of give them like a quick little bit of your background?
Okay, so I have been in real estate for 21 years now, and I started back in 1999 when I was actually still in school. I was at Baylor University, and I got my degree in real estate, and all I've ever done is residential real estate sales. So I've always been self-employed. It was really it was a family thing. My father-in-law, Mark Ellis, was in the business. I married my wife now, Amy, and that kind of got me interested in it. And I thought I was going to go into commercial or industrial real estate with a degree, and I just liked the residential side, and I stuck with that. Really, it's been all about trial and error and trying new things and trying to find the best way to grow it. I got involved in the Buffini system early on, and really it's all been about referral. So a referral-based network, and just trying not to spend a lot of money to get the leads, and and finding ways to stay in touch with people and only work with people that I like. And the team kind of grew out of that over the last 10 or 12 years. And it came out of necessity more than anything. Just when you get too busy and you need help, you start to hire people. Now we've got, I guess, 10 people on the team, and I think we've already closed $42 million this year, and we're on track to do our best year probably ever. So even in a pandemic year. So the systems that we put in place work, and I'm always more than willing to share those ideas and concepts.
Yeah, it's working, that's for sure. And I love it because I know that you're big on not spending a lot of money. You don't buy a ton of, some of these big teams, they spend thousands of dollars a month on buying Zillow leads. And I know that you're not big on that. You're big on handwritten notes and face-to-face, interactions with people and referrals, which, I want to talk about. So I think that's great, especially for newer agents who are thinking, well, I don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing. You don't need a lot of money to get started, really.
It's really more of a time thing and getting out of your comfort zone. Yes. If you can just break out of that space of being afraid to talk to people and ask for referrals, I mean, that's the biggest change. That if there's one thing you can do, it's ask for referrals and stay in contact with your people. And that's it. So we have spent exactly $0 on buying leads. Wow. And I've never bought a lead other than doing like Facebook ads and stuff like that. But I've never done the Zillow thing, never done any of those where you buy in. So can it be done? Absolutely. Does it take time? Yes.
And I think an important piece that you mentioned in there was you get to work with people that you like. This job, I mean, if you have to work with people that you don't like, I mean, you won't last. You'll get out of it. You'll be miserable. But when you can do it with people who are like you and you like to be around, it can be the greatest job.
Correct. So, and that actually touches on a point. A lot of people don't know that I've actually gotten out of this job a couple times because I was working with people I didn't like, and I was going early on in the business. I wasn't running my business. I was letting my business run me. And there's a big difference. And when you work with people that like and trust, and they like and trust you, it just makes the transactions a lot smoother. And once I learned how to delegate the responsibilities and the tasks that I didn't like to do, that's when the job became fun. So that's maybe a goal down the line is if there's something you don't like about your job, know that one day you're going to be able to pay somebody to do that part.
Yeah.
Then you like the rest of it that's left.
Yeah, just for your happiness and your sanity, you'll be so much happier in this career if you can get to that point. So what do you think it is that people have? I mean, what percentage of your business would you say comes from referrals? I'm assuming a large part.
So I'd say about 90% right now. Even when you have a goal of 100%, it just doesn't happen.
Right.
We get, I mean, random business sometimes. People will Google, top agent in Cyprus, and apparently I pop up on different things. So I've gotten a lot of leads lately where they just Google searched or they did HAR searches to see who's selling in a market. And we're getting a lot of that Cyprus luxury stuff now, just because we sold several homes in the $1 million to $2 million range, and people notice that, and then they do their own research and then they call. So I'll take those too.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think agents' biggest fear is when it comes, like, why is it so hard to ask for referrals?
I think it's human nature. I think we self-doubt. I think we talk ourselves out of things, and there's just fear. There's an innate fear in us, and it's when you're doing something that's not comfortable and it's not what you want to do and it's different. I think you project things that won't actually happen, and you just sit in that. I've done some studies on people and personalities, and I'm really big into the Enneagram now, and really.
Yeah. What number are you?
So I'm a 3.
I'm a 3 too.
And I have a 4 wing, which is kind of interesting for real estate. So, but like as a 3, I go to my 9 space a lot, which is the sloth, where I just kind of don't want to do anything. And 3s have a lot of 6, which is the fear. That's the biggest one in fear, looping fear. I think a lot of people have looping fear, and you just get stuck in that. So you have to train yourself out of that. I've talked to new agents, and they ask me, hey, Clint, how do you do what you do? How can I be successful? How can I get these referrals? How can I grow my business? And I'll tell you exactly what to do. It's very simple. And then I've had people look at me and they're like, well, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not doing that.
Might as well go find another job.
Tell me something easier to do.
It's just, if you can get over the fear of talking to people and asking for referrals, it'll make your life easier. Now, I will say in the first 5 to 7 years of this business, I didn't know about this process of asking for referrals. I was afraid to ask for referrals. I didn't want to offend people. I didn't want to be the pushy sales guy. I didn't want to ask for their business. Well, what I've learned is I don't ask for their business. I ask for their friend's business. So if you can even package it in your mind in a way of, hey, I'm not asking my friend all the time to use me as a realtor. I'm only asking if they heard of another person that is looking to buy or sell. Would you tell them about me? Would you let me give them a call? Can I have a shot at them? And it makes it a little easier.
And I think too, there's a wrong way to ask for referrals. I do think it can be done wrong and in a way that's off-putting to people, but I think you're good at doing it in a really natural way, just working it into the conversation, not making it a high pressure, you don't seem desperate, like you said. So kind of give some people some tips for asking for referrals.
So I would say get in the habit of asking all the time, where it just becomes a natural thing. Try a script if you want. And if you need scripts, you can go to Buffini and find them. You can probably go just about any coaching system. I'm sure there's scripts out there. You can Google scripts on asking for referrals. For me, I don't like the salesy, weird, oh, by the way,
right.
Buffini system. I don't say what they say. Now, I started with that, and then I've tweaked it, and now it's just what comes out naturally, what sounds natural for my personality and for my friends. So if I'm having a conversation with someone, this could be at a listing appointment. I start asking for referrals at the listing appointment, whether I get the business or not. I start treating them from the very beginning. And I tell people, look, this is how I operate my business. I don't spend a lot of money in marketing myself. I put all of my resources into marketing your home. So I want to get the most eyeballs on your house. The more people that look at your house, the more offers we should have, the higher price we can sell your house for. Now, with that being said, I'm going to rely on you to send me referrals so I don't have to spend all my time finding my next business. If you'll do it for me, then I can focus on selling your home. And people are very open to that. So when you package that way, they're like, oh, well, if he's putting all this money into selling my house and all I have to do is give him a referral every now and then, he can keep his focus on my house and on me, then it makes sense for me to give his name out. So when I have a conversation, whether it's on the phone, in person, whatever, I just end it with, hey, if you happen to hear of anybody that's looking to buy or sell, I would greatly appreciate if you'd send them my way, because I do rely 100% on referrals. And usually they're like, oh yeah. And then, I had somebody the other day that called me. I hadn't seen it. I've met the guy maybe twice. It was a church thing, and we did some kid ministry work together. And we went to HEB camp. And so I met him. We were hiking, doing stuff. So he remembers I'm a realtor. He calls me and he wants some tips on renovating his house. I'm going to do some upgrades. Just want to know, can I get rid of the bathtub? That kind of stuff. So we talked for 30 minutes. And at the end of the conversation, I said, hey, if you happen to hear of anyone that is looking to buy or sell, I would appreciate it if you send them my way. He goes, hey, actually, I know a guy. I was just talking to him yesterday. So we had a 30-minute conversation. He didn't think about this until I asked for the referral. And then he called the guy and said, hey, you need to call Clint. And then the guy called me later that day. So you just never know who you're going to run into. But because I ask every single time I talk to every single person, then opportunities open up like that, where I never would have had that had I not just asked them for the referral at the end of the conversation.
And do you do something for people who refer you business?
So $50 gift card. And okay. I'll ask them, I had somebody the other day that sent me 2 referrals. They sent me $1 million listing, and they sent me a $500,000 listing that bought a $700,000 home. So legally, I can give them 2 $50 gift cards. So I asked them, I was like, hey, what's your favorite restaurant? They said Lupe Tortilla. So they're getting 2 $50 gift cards. And, I'll probably get them something else too that I can't write off.
Well, I just think that's good to point out because, so I have a friend, this is an analogy. I have a friend who works at SeaWorld, trains the animals, and how do they get these animals to do all these incredible things? They reward them when they do the right thing. And it's the same thing, human behavior. If you reward people when they send you something, because they're probably not expecting anything, just pass your name along. So then when you surprise them with a handwritten note and a gift card, they're like, oh, and I'm going to do that again so I can get another one. So I think it's important that people remember when somebody does send you a referral to make a big deal out of that. Thank them, send them something.
And the gift doesn't matter. It's the thanking that I think matters.
Yeah.
So when I get a referral, the first thing I do is call them. I immediately call them to say, hey, thank you so much for thinking of me. I got the call from so-and-so. I just wanted to thank you. And then you usually have a conversation for a second. Then I followed up with a handwritten note, and I'm thanking them again in writing. And then once it closes, that's when we send the gift card. You can do it before, you can do it after, whenever. I found that it's easier that when it closes that I'll send the gift card. Now, there are people that if they're sending me referrals and they're not working out, I'm still going to send them a gift card because you want to keep the action going. You don't want to only reward them for closed files.
And I like the way you do that because it's multiple touches. You're calling them and then you're calling with a handwritten note and then you're sending them a gift card. So multiple times they get reminded, they get thanked for doing that. Right. That's great. We do tips treats. We send tips treats when people send us.
That's a good idea. Yeah, you can do whatever. We've thought about trying different things. It would be nice to just send something. So that's something my wife and I were actually talking about that. Like, what can we do to give them something where it's delivered? And then it just kind of takes it out of our hands and it's more automated. I think that's a good idea.
So go ahead.
Do you hand deliver your tips treats or do you have them delivered?
We have them delivered.
Okay. So the only thing about that, if you hand deliver the item, it's one more touch, it's a face-to-face, and you can check that off the list. So with the Buffini system, the face-to-face is a big thing. I would consider that a pop buy, and pop buys are huge. So if you're trying to track your activities and you're going to have activities of face-to-face, then maybe you hand deliver. But if you're busy and you just need to get it done, then I think the delivery service, I would go that route before you don't do anything. But the best thing to do would be a face-to-face if you have the opportunity.
I agree with you. So you mentioned the face-to-face, and that's actually something else I wanted to talk to you about. So I think another thing that you're really good at is being involved in your church, being involved in your neighborhood, being involved in your community, really getting out there, doing things that have nothing to do with real estate, but you're involved in things, and that's getting you that face-to-face time, and then that's bringing the opportunities to ask for those referrals instead of you having to pick up the phone. So that's something I'm really pushing agents to do right now, especially this 2020 thing where everybody's gotten so used to just being at home. I know everything's canceled. It doesn't mean you can't still get out there and do things. So why don't you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done to get involved with that have ended up bringing you business?
So people care that you care. And people want to work with people that do good things either for them or for others is what, and and I don't do things that are good because I care what other people think. I do them because I want to do them. And then people notice it and then they want to be a part of that or they want to help support it. So we work with a lot of different ministries. We do stuff in Africa where we travel over and we have kids in Africa that we help take care of and impoverished and orphans and everything. I do work in Guatemala. We do stuff here locally. We've adopted a baby from here locally in Houston. So these are all things that are close to us and they're on our heart. My wife and I are now, we're helping lead, it's a healing ministry, Soul Well ministry. It's about 6 weekends a year now where I'll be going and just helping men heal and get closer to the Holy Spirit. So things that are important to me, that's what we do. Now, when you're doing that, you're doing life with these people, it opens up new opportunities for referrals and business. So my referrals come from the people I'm doing life with. So there's about 10 or 12 of us that are in the leadership for Soulwell. Well, a lot of my time is Zoom calls and face-to-face and dinners and planning events and then the actual weekends where I'm with them. So I now focus a lot of my time on trying to ask them for referrals. And these are a lot of business leaders. These are people that are successful and they have big networks. So I say, wherever you're doing life, that's where your referral should come from. So my referral base shifts as my life changes. Church is a big one. We're both, Amy and I are very involved in church. And, it's just, you got to be careful with church. You don't want to be walking around church. And I don't do the, hey, by the way, if you have a referral when I'm, walking
After
out.
the Sunday service. Yeah.
Right. So it's, I kind of keep my church stuff a little bit separate. And I don't, I have some people there that they're on my list and I do network with them, but it's outside of church. I keep it separate. But I get a lot of referrals from church people because they want to know that a good, a Christian person is taking care of their friend. And, I don't necessarily ask them for referrals all the time, but I do get referrals from the church people a lot. Pastors, we've gone to 3 different churches over the last several years. I still get referrals from the previous 2 churches we were at, from the pastors. So, we keep good relationships. We just had, different needs for different churches because of our kids' needs at the time. So I would say, just anything you're involved in the schools, we're very supportive of the schools. We do a lot for the teachers in our local schools. Where you have to be careful is don't get spread too thin. Don't try to do too much. Pick one school, pick one neighborhood. I only market in Fairfield and Lexa Fairhaven. That's kind of a joint market. So as far as Gazette ads to just for the, showing the listings that we have, I only do that. I only support financially in going out and doing drinks and lunches and breakfasts and different things. We've been doing Swinky Elementary because that's where my kids went. So it's easy to pick one smaller school. Now we've moved, so Keith Elementary will probably be getting stuff, and we'll do a little bit with Swinky because we have a relationship there. And then I've got a son in high school marching band, so now I'm starting to put some focus on marching band. So I was chaperoning at the football game the other day, and I had no less than 10 conversations with 10 different chaperones and adults. And they know who we are. They see us. They know, oh, you're Clint Nabors. You're the real estate guy. Well, then you have conversations. And I'm already training those people how to send me referrals while we're sitting there watching a football game. It just comes out. I mean, there's no way around it once you've been doing it for 10 or 12 years. So
Did you also start something in your neighborhood, like a men's thing, and Amy did a women's thing?
So on our street, we moved on the street back in October a year ago, and no one on the street knew anyone. And one of the neighbors happened to have a list of phone numbers, and he just kind of kept it up, but they didn't do anything with it. And so my wife actually she invited all the women over just to have like a wine night and do the socially distant 6 feet into the driveway thing. I think she had 10 women show up, and then all the neighbors the women got to know each other. So I said, okay, I'll do the same thing. So I invited all the guys on the street, texted everyone, and then I had 7 guys show up. Well, now it's grown. We have 9 guys and 14 women on the street that get together. The men do every Tuesday night. The women do every Thursday night. And we've been literally every week. We've done this since COVID started. And if I'm not here, the guys smoke cigars. So half of us smoke cigars, half don't. I don't drink alcohol. Most of the other guys do. So everybody kind of bring your own drink, bring your own cigar if you want, and then we just sit around and talk. We've had to limit it now. It's like from 7 to 9 because it was dragging into 11.
Too late.
So Amy and I were like, okay, let's put a cap on this. Maybe not 30, so we're not out too late. But it is a weekly thing. We were in Colorado a few weeks ago, and the guys were like, hey, Tuesday night, Clint's not here. Let's just meet in his driveway. So they still meet at my place, and then we just built this big patio in the back with a fireplace and TV. So now that's kind of a meeting place for everyone because we've got room for lots of people back there. So, but yeah, it's, you know, and we talk about real estate, but it's really fun because you get to know your neighbors, you get all these different personalities. We have different religious backgrounds. We have, you know, some people are conservative, some people are liberal. So we get to talk about all this stuff, and it's just cool to hear other people's opinions on things. And then they know I'm in real estate, so they're going to talk about it. I don't sit and ask them for referrals the whole time. We don't even talk. I try not to talk about myself. I try to just listen to other people and have different conversations. But they do know that when they hear of somebody that needs to buy or sell, I want them to send it my way. It's just we're not focusing the whole conversation on that. So.
Yeah. Well, and I know that people, you don't do these things for business. You know, you're not involved with your church so you can get business. You know, your heart is in the right place. And I think people can sense that. But I love, you know, I just wish agents would, whatever you love, whatever's important to you. If you love charity, if you love photography, go join a photography club. If you love running, go join a running club. And also, if there's not something for you to plug into, do what you guys did and create it. You know, if you want to do bunco or you want to do a book club or a wine night, then just start it and invite 5 friends and ask them to bring a couple friends. I mean, and that's the kind of stuff that really I've noticed all the successful agents do. They are not behind their computer all day. They are out there meeting people and having real life conversations.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Amy does bunco, you know, and then I was coaching my kids' sports for years. Well, now my kids. I have a 14-year-old and 17-year-old, and then the 3-year-old. Well, my older kids, when they were young, I coached everything and I sponsored every one of their teams. So it was always my company on the back of their jerseys. I was the head coach. I sponsored the banner. I paid for everything. And I still get referrals today from all of those kids' parents. You know, so I've got all these coaching years that I would do that for soccer and t-ball and basketball. And they're still my people. They're on my sphere, and they're still sending business, you know, 10 years later. So, you know, I joke with Amy. I was like, go adopt a kid if you need to coach. Like,
find a kid. I love it. Okay, so before I let you go, I know there's so many other things we could talk about, but I know you're big on handwritten notes, right? How many? You write them every day?
So I will be honest with you. I don't all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to, and I should, and I'm human like everyone else. And what I want you to know is it's okay to drop the ball, but pick it back up and just start again. And I had dropped the ball during COVID. I got so busy. I mean, we were busy just like everybody. We were selling, we were listing, we had family, we were doing ministry, doing all this stuff. And then I realized, man, I haven't been writing my notes like I should. I'll get a couple out, like my thank yous and stuff, but I wasn't doing my day-to-day. My goal is to make 3 phone calls a day and 5 notes a day and 5 days a week. And if you can do that, you will see your business change. So I've gotten back in the habit with my coach. So I do have a coach, and he was telling me, you know, 2 weeks, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago when we talked, he's like, how many notes have you been writing? None.
Yeah.
So
I'm honest.
I'm back into my note. And I mean, I have them right here. So, I mean, I keep them everywhere. So I've got notes here. I've got them in my car. I've got them in my bag. And it's like they're there, so I have no excuse. I just need to do it. So I think try to do whatever is comfortable. If you want to start with 2 or 3 a day, do that. If you want to do 3 days a week, just schedule a time, pick a number. I think 5 is a good number. And then if you need things to talk about in your notes, whoever you ran into yesterday, if you saw them at the grocery store, if you happen to see somebody in the car line, use that. Start with that. And then otherwise you can just go straight through your list and say, hey, I just want to check in with you guys, see how you're doing, send a note. But notes, they get noticed, and people will talk about them. I will get calls of people just saying thank you for the note. No one gets handwritten notes really anymore. And always do, anything you do, handwrite the address, handwrite the return, put a stamp on it, and then people will open it.
Mm-hmm. Smart. I love your honesty, because I heard a speaker talk once, we're all juggling all these different things. She's like, you have all these balls. Some of them are glass, like your family, your faith. Don't drop those balls. But everything else, you're going to drop the ball sometime. Just pick it back up. Like, it's fine.
It's a season. You're going to go through seasons of life where you're busy in different things, and you want to have a well-rounded life. You want to be balanced. And right now, I feel like I'm balanced in 4 of my 5 places. The one that I'm not balanced in right now, honestly, is my exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good with my eating habits right now, and my calories are good. I'm counting calories, I'm doing all that, but I'm not doing the exercise. And really, because it's been hot as hell. It's been humid, going outside. So once it cools off, I need to go balance that. That's on my list of goals right now. My short-term goals is to get back into just walking, just walk around the lake, do something, playing golf, things like that. But I would say one thing to remember: this is not a fast process. And I just talked to my coach this morning, and what we were talking about, what we do today is setting up your success for 3 to 6 months from now. So don't think that you're going to go ask for referrals today and do an event and do a pop by and you're going to get referrals by Friday. Now, it does happen, and it can, but it's a process of training. You're training your people to send you referrals. You're training them to remember you, to be top of mind. You want to activate that reticular activator in their mind. You want them to always be thinking about you. And I'm thinking right now, what I do this week, we're doing a big event. It's our pies, reverse pop by, where we're going to give out pies for Thanksgiving. And we're doing our Santa event. So Santa still wants to see the kids. He still wants to do pictures. We have a professional photographer. We're doing that. So I'm now calling everyone to invite. We're sending out the invitations. That's my reason to call them. And I'm asking for referrals. And I'm planning on all of these calls I'm making over the next couple of weeks. That's going to be January, February, March business. That's not October. Well, now they're almost done with it. November, December. It's really going to be starting the first quarter of next year off strong.
So smart. And I think the same thing with open houses. When I hear agents say, oh, I held open, and I'm not getting anything. I went on an appointment last night with some sellers, and I was thinking as I was leaving their house, I met them almost 9 years ago at an open house,
Wow.
And here it is, listings 9 years later. So I think if people can have that long-term mindset, instead of expecting the quick result, and then when it doesn't happen, they abandon that thing, think, oh, well, that doesn't work, I'm going to move on to the next. So it's so smart. I could talk to you forever, but we'll have to have you back another time. Thank you so much, Clint, for sharing with us today.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks. We'll see you soon, hopefully in person.
Thank you.
All right, bye.